That's it.
Yeah, are we live?
Yeah, there was a dead silence just before we went on air there. Good evening, everybody. Today is April the 2nd, 2019 already. Tuesday, April the 2nd. Good evening, chat room. Red Squirrel, Brian's just come in, and Nimblehorse. And Nimblehorse actually on the panel. Hey. So today actually is astrology night, ancient astrology, birth charts, other things that Miriam wants to talk about. So hello, Miriam.
Hi, good evening, everybody.
Yeah.
Hi.
Oh, yeah, we're actually stuck on you. That's right. So let's put that down a minute so everybody can see everybody else. There's Nimblehorse on the end. Hello, Nimblehorse, who's going to come on Friday and talk about their story, part 2 to our story. Well, their story. So we were just checking to see if they could get on the Hangout, which they can. That's great. So Nimblehorse is going to stay. Our Patricia's here. Hello, Patricia. Hello, Charles. Miriam, over to you.
Hi, thank you. Thanks, Karen. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Nimblehorse.
Hello.
Hi.
Nimblehorse.
Hi. I would like to start actually where we left, or what I didn't really finish in the first hangout that we had, and that is the basic astrology. To get your own chart. That is the first step. So this is my my website, Starconnections. Then you go to basic astrology. You will see the birth chart on the side. You click on that. Now we can first scroll all the way down to the bottom here. And if you have a printer, switch it on and print it out, or take a piece of paper and a saucer and a ruler or so you can draw a circle. This you can just print out and start get familiar with the chart and draw it yourself. I'm old school. The more you draw it yourself, the more you get it in your head. Here you see the symbols of the planets and the symbols of the zodiac signs. Okay, so when you get to this site, you will see a link here, Astrodienst. That's a free website that gives you your birth chart. I don't want to go in here. This is not me, okay? I just checked yesterday for if it was free, because I just put a different time in. So that is not my birth chart at all. What you saw there was just a fictitious time.
Yeah, Miriam, I do this one. It's quite quick, isn't it? And everything. It says a lot. They want you to buy the whole thing, though, don't they? So they only give you a bit of the birth chart, but they give you enough, don't they?
Yes. No, you don't need to buy anything. Absolutely nothing. That's the beauty of these times that we're living in. You can get all the information for free. Let's see. I thought to put a partial lunar eclipse in, so I'll just do that as the name. It's a partial lunar eclipse. Okay, dat hoeft niet. Het is een event, but if I put event, it won't give me the chart that I want as if it is a person. So it's a lunar eclipse, so I put it female. That was the 26th of, I'm just doing randomly. Let me see, that was in the year 1972. Oops, that's the year 1972. So what you do here is you fill in, of course, your own birth date. And that was July. Right. And then the time is very important. So this was at 9:16. And I'll just put it in the Netherlands, because this is the time I checked on my other program for this timing of the partial lunar eclipse. And then you put your birth down. And this is just what I put in for now. Oops. Yeah, that's fine. Doesn't. Oh, no, not this one. I didn't know there was an Amsterdam in California. Okay. I know there is an Amsterdam in South Africa. Okay, this we don't look at. We just scroll all the way down. And then you see here, view natal chart with transits. That's what we're looking at. That's what we're clicking on. So that's where you go. It's all on the website as well. I explain it here. So you can all figure it out here. You can read it back again. Okay, so then what we do next is here. We click on this without transits. The transits are the position of the planets, how they are at this moment. That's what we call transits. So this is the birth chart of that. This is then the partial lunar eclipse. I thought I'd do a partial lunar eclipse because then I can show you that the nodes, they are not within 3 degrees around the sun and the moon, but they are here. You have only the north node, not even the south node. Okay, so but they're always opposite of each other. So here the north node is 26 degrees, and then the south node should be 26 degrees here in Cancer, because it's here in Capricorn. They're opposite of each other. So when the nodes are within 3 degrees, it is called orbs. So within 3 orbs of the sun and the moon, we have a total lunar eclipse. And when it's a new moon, it's a total solar eclipse. So when they are within, they need to be within approximate 18 degrees for it to be a partial eclipse. Okay, that's why I thought to show you a lunar eclipse, a partial lunar eclipse, to explain that one again. So now next what we do, we forget about Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Chiron. Don't take those. Don't. That's very confusing. I will explain in another time, another later hangout or so, more about that. But anyway, they didn't exist in the old times, so we don't use them anyway. And there, in my opinion, there are like pigeonholing people, generations. You know, you become, oh, you're the generation of Neptune in that and that sign, or you're the generation, you know, you become, you start to become by a group, your individuality gets distorted with that. It's very good food for psychological astrology. Sorry, a bit cynical. Anyway, this is the first thing we look at, the ascendant. This is the first house. So when you have this empty piece of paper, it is the opposite of the compass. Normally the compass, you would have north at the top, north, east, south, west. Here it is south, east, north, west. So it is the other way around. So this is the east. Yeah. So you can see it when you take this piece of paper, and you direct this line towards the east where it exactly is, and then you turn it upside down above your head, and then the compass will align itself in the right direction. So what you're looking at is at the sky, but then you look at it down. You understand? Any questions on this?
Sorry, I'm there. I couldn't unmute myself. Yeah, I've used this before, but you're explaining it for the chat room, aren't you? In case this is for them to go and do it. It's any questions in the chat room?
I
It's
don't think so.
quite easy, that one.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody can do it, but it's a good one, isn't it? Because, you know, we all like to know those bits about ourselves.
Yeah, no, exactly. It is, and it's a simple thing, you know, to once you know what it is you're looking at, it becomes, you become more familiar with it, and you don't need to become an astrologer, you know, as I've said before, to understand what it is you're looking at. So the ascendant, that is the cusp of the first house. The first house, that is how you look, how other people see you, your physical construction. Here, the ascendant for Amsterdam at the lunar eclipse, it was Virgo rising. So that you will find here the AC 18 Virgo. So that is what you then, when you find your own chart, you will see what is on this line. That you will note down here. You put the degrees and the sign, and then you fill in here the sign. But then, because we work here with equal houses and the sign doesn't begin, your ascendant doesn't start on 0, so you have to just see which direction takes the most of that sign anyway to fill in your chart. But print it out as many times you want, play around with it as often. It's only a good exercise. So then the next thing is the sun, that is this here. It will all tell you exactly where it is, and then it will all fall into place. The sun here is 3 degrees Leo, and 25 minutes 50 seconds. Okay, they give the seconds on this one as well. So yeah, you just put 3 degrees 25 Leo, and then the moon is here 3 degrees Aquarius 52. Yeah, so this is closer to a 4 degree than to 3 degree actually. You see it is 3 degrees 52, so it's close to 4. These are tiny little details, but in the long run they will make a big. They will play a big role. So then you have Mercury, 22 degrees Leo. Virgo is 23 degrees Gemini. Mars is 17 degrees Leo. Jupiter 29 degrees Sagittarius. Saturn 16 degrees Gemini. And then we take the node, true node. I use me node, but it might difference a few minutes on the degree, so that's not that much. The nodes here are 26 degrees Capricorn. So these are this is the information you want to note down. Now then, this is a little bit more complex. That is the distances that they take. So you have to start calculating, but that will come later. I think this is already quite nice if you can fill this in, and you get to know in which house your planets are and in what sign they are. Yeah? So I thought that would be a nice thing to start off with, because I didn't finish that.
Yeah. I just need you to let you talk, remember, because that microphone's been echoing a bit, but yeah. Brilliant. Is everybody keeping up there in the chat room? What are we on to next then?
Yeah, I see on my laptop I'm very late in the with the chat, late with the image of what I've been saying. So if you get questions later, that is fine. I'm just going to carry on. Oh no, I've scrolled down on this page. Sorry, it's at the same time. Sorry. This is a quick look what I always do. You know, if someone wants to have a chart read, then the middle part, that is your natal chart. Then this is the progressions, this is the solar directed, and these are the transits. And with this, you get just such a good overview of where you are at this moment and what is all happening. So that's just on the side. Let me see here, the blog. The last article that I wrote, I don't do that much on that. I'm better at explaining, I guess, than writing. English isn't really my language either. What did I do? Feed from the stars here.
You do very well. You do very well.
The start of the year was quite an interesting chart. It wasn't the moon on 29 degrees of Pisces, but that was Mars. So that Mars is the action. Mars makes things happen. Yeah, without Mars there is no movement, and so yeah, it's what I saw there was quite an interesting thing, and I like to speak with metaphors and archetypes from different sources, so that you get more of a feel what it is on a different level than just the tangible world, if you get what I mean. I don't know how to explain that. If I would do a reading, say, for the year and would explain, oh, this and that will happen and da 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 da, then I fill in for another. I imprint already something in someone's head what is going to happen. I just give an opportunity. This is a possibility. And it is up to you to use it or not. And I try to weave it in as well. Sometimes the tarot cards, they will have a card that has exactly that aspect or that planet in that sign and explains it in that way. So it will resonate in a different frequency to you. Yeah?
Sorry, I'm muted. Yeah, I feel like that. I feel a lot of life cycle frequency for me. I think you're probably the same. I think Patricia is. What about you, Nimblehorse? Is life a frequency to you? Is he there?
Yeah, just turned the camera off there. I'm just happy listening in, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then. He hasn't got an opinion on that one. Carry on, Miriam.
Okay. I would like to show you the... someone asked me last time in a chat, what do I think of stars? What do I think stars are? So the year I was making my first website, that was in 2015, I was in Greece. I was in the mountains there, and Mars and Venus, they were conjunct. There, I could see them on the left-hand side of the mountains. And there was this one very bright star to the right, and it was this. And I've got a Roller P800, and it zooms nicely in. And I actually got a fright. I had no idea what I was looking at. So I later checked and I figured out which star it was. But yeah, you tell me what it is. I don't know. It is Alvarez. I had the feeling it was talking to me. It is just like...
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, it looks really good. I love it. I haven't seen one quite like that before on a camera.
Yeah, and then someone called me, so I wasn't, I couldn't carry on. But yeah, I thought it was just... The ancients, they considered stars to be very important. You know, the zodiac signs, they are good to know in what month you are of the year. But the fixed stars, their frequencies, the rays of the fixed stars, they are very potent, and they have much more influence than we actually know, or that we are aware of, actually. And that actually brings me to the... we have the first new moon of spring. And it is right on Alvarez. Alvarez is, let me see, that was in 2016. Alvarez was 14 degrees, Aries 31 minutes. So yeah, it's there. And let me see what the star is, because I don't know the meaning of all the stars out of my head. And oh, by the way, the whole cosmology, that's actually my story with how I got back to flat Earth. As I said in the first hangout, I got back on the ball because of Michael Sarion's fierce words like, "Oh no, that's ridiculous," you know. So I was like, "Oh yeah, no, yeah, he's right." But then this movie came of There Are No Trees on Flat Earth, or there are no forests on flat Earth. And I started visualizing, yeah, no, high trees catch a lot of wind, you know, that's totally impossible on a ball. And so I started looking, and then I found all sorts of channels, but it was all about the Bible. And so I got very disillusioned. And then suddenly IPS came really brave to the town hall of Albuquerque in New Mexico to confront them and asked, what's up with bubbles in space? Right, there is someone, a fresh new wind in the whole flat Earth happening. So I started digging back into my studies on astronomy, because the first chapters of astronomy I went through and I was struggling with it, and for months I had to have this sundial and do the measurements and get up before sunrise and measure where the sun would rise and all that. So that's all part of the study. But I couldn't, I wasn't able to work it out, because I thought he meant it as a joke in his orientation tape, Robert Zoller, when I did medieval astrology in 2000, that at the end he said, with that, best wishes and welcome to the arcane of medieval times, where the old ways are the good ways and the earth really is flat. So it's like, you think, okay, it's a figure of speech and probably a way of calculating, maybe, you know. So I struggled with that. So after IPS in the town hall, I got back into the studies. And so for me, it's also all new and fresh, and I'm getting it. I start to understand much more of it, but I'm far from knowing much. Okay, Alfred.
We're always learning, though, aren't we?
Totally.
You know?
If you stop, yeah, if you stop learning, then you're not living. Let me see. I need to have my. Oh yeah, it was in the head of Andromeda. Well, Andromeda is one of my favorite constellations, because I think it is time that she is getting relieved from her shackles. She is still catened to the rocks. That says a lot about the culture we're living in. You know, the Greeks, they killed the last matriarch, and we are still in a Greek patriarchal mindset. And let's see, it's a saying, the head of Andromeda and the navel of Pegasus. This star is placed in the constellation Andromeda, but nevertheless seems to draw greater symbolism from the concept of Pegasus, to strive for freedom and independence, to act quickly, wanting or seeking greater personal space, interactive understanding of how to use speed and movement. So that is the star's influence on this coming first new moon of the spring in the northern hemisphere. Yeah. I'm gonna switch all these ones off. I thought that was a nice thing, just as a side thingy. Let me see if there's questions.
Hey, there's Costa in the
no
chat
questions.
room. Hello,
Okay.
Costa.
Yeah, Saturn and
Have you got the chat
sorry.
room open? Miriam, have you got the chat room open?
Yes.
Do you want to just keep an eye then? So Miriam's there if you want any questions, but carry on, Miriam.
Yeah. Only I need to put on my glasses for this screen, and for the other screen I can use these glasses. But let me see if there's questions coming. I'll keep an eye. Put question marks when there is a question. Then I'll see that there is a question. Saturn. Oops. Don't look at the placement of that because everybody in the world is at a different time. I can show you here. This is the UK. The new moon. Oh no, this is Amsterdam. Sorry, and this is the UK. So here in the UK, Greenwich Mean Time. That's here. The new moon will have a 29 degrees Gemini rising, and in Amsterdam it will have 4 degrees Cancer rising. So, and that changes by place as well. That is not just the time zone. Each place is a different location. So that will change slightly. Yeah? So there's no second chart the same. There are no two equal charts ever. Let me see, which one did I put there? Oh yeah, that was the lunar eclipse I checked that we did in the Astrodienst site. Okay, that was that. Now I would like to go to a whole different other subject, and that is something that all has to do with it. The radio waves, the radio astronomy. This called Guido Bonatti in 1931. He discovered the first radio wave. Well, I don't think he was the first one, but it was phrased from extraterrestrial origin. Oh, right. Okay. Let's go here. Lovar. Now, there is something very sinister happening at the moment in Holland, and please do not underestimate the influence of this tiny little country. I think everybody is familiar with HARP, the high aerial frequency aurora. It's always difficult to get to. No, anyway, HARP, the high frequency operation. Lovar is the low frequency area, and it is in Drenthe, and it is massive, and there is no law in Holland that tells how low the frequencies can be. Germany and England, they have laws on that. I think France as well, there's not the low frequencies. Maybe they have changed it by now, that they do that as well. But anyway, they keep us in a kind of sleeping delta state. You can hear that as well. They are situated on the field of Astron. So they're working, that is Lovar and Astron, they're working together. That is the space. They're working with the radio waves, the space radio waves, whatever they say. But basically they're bombarding us with these frequencies. There is a Dutch-Chinese launch, and then this. I could not believe it when I saw it. It's all when you get to that link from Lovar. Let me see here. Oops, here, Lovar. It all directs you to all different sites, but it is very, very unclear what they're doing. The news updates are from people all over the world that are checking data, but that's the data that they're feeding. You can't get hold of people. And then is there the school of Asterix and Obelix. There are, I couldn't believe it. It's a serious thing. So the first edition, then you see who the sponsors, the connectors are. There's Astron, let me see, there was, oh, I have to take it out. It was also CERN, because it is close to CERN, this. Anyway, it's just a few things that I was thinking of as I was seeing the massacre of, let me see, where did I put that? The massacre of the trees. This is what is happening in Holland. Not this one, sorry. Not this one, here. But really everywhere. It is very hard to breathe. There's hardly any oxygen. This is around the corner from where I'm living. But it is massive. In comparison, it seems to be worse.
They don't want us to have the trees because the trees vibrate. In fact, we need the trees. Trees are really special. They're electric and everything. They just want to cut it all out, don't they? They're fake electricity.
Yeah, it's all healthy trees. It's a massacre. And no one knows who is responsible. Again, there are all these little laws that they can get away with it. It's an absolute nightmare what is going on here. So yeah, if people have any idea what we can do, I don't know. It's it's bad. It's real bad. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. It's in comparison worse than how they chop the rainforest on the scale. In comparison on scale. That's how bad it is.
So special. I just don't understand what. Oh, it's so annoying. I love trees and they're just cutting the things down.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why we have no trees. Cut them all down.
What they say is that they want certain forests again to look like 100 years ago. People are furious, especially around the place of Lofar. Let me see if I can get to that Astron general information. It's massive, this place, and hardly anyone has heard of it. And say, oh yeah, no, they're watching the stars. Yeah, they're watching the stars, but Holland is saturated with landmasts. They're called actually MIMO masts, MIMO, to hold the G5. And people can say, yeah, I hear also other people saying, no, it's not bad and whatever. It is bad. It is very bad. The low frequency you can hear when you switch off everything, and then it sounds as if far in the distance there is a machine on a low vibration, like whoa, 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 something like that, but non-stop. So that they are really keeping us in this horrific state of low frequency. I've been away for 15 years out of Europe. I left Europe before it became the EU because nobody wanted to have this whole new world, brave new world scenario of one whatever nutcase ruling. So I left first to India, had 4 kids. Stayed there 4 years, then South Africa, lived there 11 years. So when I got back to Holland, it was in 2008, the end of 2007, beginning 2008, I could see it was like a shock. Like everybody's like, people are falling asleep. And you can't get off. It's like, what is going on here? and you get a kind of a mantra back, and that is, oh yeah, we can't do anything about it. You can't do anything about it. It's really almost a mantra. But I think now, 10 years further, I think finally people start to wake up. It's painful, you know. It's to see that, because these trees you can't put back. You can't, and you could feel it. That if you see a Karelian photography of phantom leaves, and or a living branch and a cut-off branch or a cut-off leaf, you will see that the energy of the living will go towards that leaf that has been taken off. So all the roots and the living trees, they're sending out all their energy towards that what is the living. So no oxygen. I ask frequently in the shops, and you have already the oxygen bottles, but no. Yeah, I don't know. It's quite hectic. I think it's an out of hand gone AI. Governments and military that have been relying on AI that has programmed wrong. So yeah, that's my take on it. So I'm gonna pour myself a cup of tea. And you fill up some talking space.
Okay, you're going to talk about a bit more then.
Oops, I just need to drink a little.
Okay then, Nimblehorse. It's your turn, Nimblehorse. You're there. You can say hello. Nimblehorse is part of our chat room. He's on our hangout today.
Okay, I'm here. Can you hear?
I can. It's nice that you joined us.
Yeah, thanks.
It's always nice to have, when we actually get members of our own chat room coming on the hangouts. It's good.
Yeah, I've been a member sort of thing for about a year now, isn't it? Probably.
Yeah, you have. I've seen you in there quite a lot, Nimblehorse.
One of my favourite sites is this.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I like the chat, right? Because generally people are not that judgmental. Being flat earthers, you've got to be a little bit open for. So yeah, that's why I like it. I can have some fun in the chat, and because normally if I'm in other chats, I'm usually making some really, over the top political comments and stuff like that. So I like to have some fun now and again.
So whereabouts do you live in Scotland then, roughly?
Okay, do you know where Dundee is? Do you know where?
Yeah.
Edinburgh. Well, I'm in between Edinburgh and Dundee, in the middle of Fife.
Right.
And
quite a long way from Sheeps and Neeps then.
Well, actually, it's about from Dundee to Aberdeen. It's about, I don't know, an hour and 20 minutes in the car. About 85 miles, something like that. How's he doing, by the way? Still in hospital?
Fighting in his, I don't know. I think it's probably going to hit him, if you know what I mean. He went out with Chris UK, isn't it? They came up to see him the other day.
Okay.
And the next day he was in rather a lot of pain. I suggested a few things and talked to him, and then the last couple of days I've tried to call him. His phone's been off.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Prognosis isn't so good, is it?
No, I really feel for him.
Well, I mean,
it happens to us all, but when someone else told you you've got a few weeks to live, it's just my love goes out to him.
Well, I think the doctors.
I hope he finds something that cures him.
Yeah, I thought the doctors wanted to radiotherapy it, shrink it down a bit before they do the operation, which is kind of normal. That's what they normally want to do. But he's not wanting to do the radiotherapy. That's what I picked up. Because, well, anyway, it's complicated. Whatever he chooses.
Yeah, so I did find him a smoothie place, but organic one. But I don't know where. I know he's in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Which is not good, is it?
No.
But yeah, I'll try again and ring him tomorrow. He might not feel like talking to anybody for a few days, might he?
Yeah, I'll be tired. We'll talk later.
It's, you know, he's in a lot of pain the other day, so I don't know what can I don't know what to say. Poor shit.
Opiates and stuff probably from the doctor.
Take that off for a minute.
Yeah.
Sorry, you didn't see Nimblehorse because behind the writing, there's Nimblehorse. Speak again, Nimblehorse.
Yeah, I could put my camera back on.
Oh, that's all right. With icon's great. Where's that? What's that of on that icon?
That's actually a Celtic coin called a stater, gold stater coin. Solid
Okay,
gold.
there he is.
So is Miriam ready to?
Yeah. I'm here. I'm listening. Hi. Yeah. Just another little thing that was actually on Lover. The only thing concrete that I could find they were doing that was checking a fungi on potatoes. I mean, you gotta know what these people are on about. But this Asterix is an advanced software programming for young people, and it's I think it's a quite scary thing what they're doing here. And CERN is involved. I don't see them here. Yesterday I had one link where they were as well, because it is very close by CERN. Anyway, yeah, check into Lover and see. It will lead you to many universities around the world that all work with GMOs. So it's all one. That's what we are basically up against with these idiots. Anyway, that was this one. I'm gonna switch that out. With the 9/11, I found my old chart that I printed out at the time, because in an instant I knew the chart of the states. I was always very interested in the mundane astrology. It was in the I believe it was in the 80s that it became a kind of in the astrology community, like who could figure out what was going to happen where, what the governments were doing, because it became so obvious that they were using astrology to time when they brought something out or when they were doing something or whatever. So that was quite interesting. And with the chart of the 9/11, I was still doing the modern Western astrology. I just started with the traditional. So I was still in the transition of going from the modern Western to the traditional ancient astrology, which is like getting off the globe to the plane. You can compare it sort of like that. But because I knew the transit of Pluto was already hovering for quite a long time, because Pluto is going very short, is taking about 260 whatever year to go around the zodiac. So when it was going retrograde, it will take a long time. So Pluto transit will take a long time. So when I figured out that by the third time the Pluto hits, because with the transit, with the retrogradation, the planet transits over that point, then it goes retrograde, goes back over that point, it's the second time, then it goes direct again, and it goes over it for a third time. And then by the third time, that was when, I'll show you here, when Pluto was hitting the last. This is the United States of Philadelphia, when they had signed it from 1776. That is the traditional one that you use for the states. So Pluto was transiting in Sagittarius. So I was looking for that, and what happened at, okay, it was not really the right timing here, but the timing won't make any difference to the placement of Pluto. 12 degrees, 12 degrees. So then that's when I figured out they had constructed Pluto in such a way that they would time, it was a too perfect timing. And like a constructed timing. And you can, it's the same as backwards engineering. Like for instance, Nostradamus, he was considered a charlatan under the astrologers from his time. He wasn't an astrologer at all. He just wrote a script. And later on, all these modern planets have been added. That's how I see it, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And they are being used in playing out all these scenarios. That's my take on it.
Yeah, thank you for that. Patricia, does Patricia want to say anything? Patricia's been very quiet there. Patricia?
No, I'm okay. I'm eagerly listening. It's fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it is. It is. It stays fascinating. I'm a little bit out of breath because I would have loved to do the cell salts.
Do you want to come back and do that another day then,
I think
Miriam?
that would be a perfect idea, because then I think people can, also other people that might look at this later on, you will have time to figure out your own birth chart, at least with the placements of where the planets are. And then we can go every time a little deeper into it. Little steps.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I hope people like the idea about like you're going to look up your own birth chart. And Miriam knows how I feel about 9/11 and the rest of the stuff. It's all over the sun and moon. The whole, you know, if people look and go back, they can find it all in there. That I'm very,
yeah. It was actually very strange what happened at the time. It's actually quite an interesting story, I think. I was living in Johannesburg at that time, and we had a guest from Holland. He was a Holocaust survivor, and he had a daughter same age as my daughter. So he came with a whole entourage of people to talk in the townships about the Holocaust and that they shouldn't forget it. And there was asked if the girl could be in the same school as my daughter. That's why they were staying with us, because of the daughter, and he really wanted to give her that opportunity of seeing Africa. So when in the morning we were watching the BBC, or I heard this, hey, there was something happening on the news. So I come in the room and said, immediately, oh, they've done it themselves. So I straight away go to the computer and switch on my program, and I see this. Pluto makes a last hit on the rising of the United States. It was very clear. Don't need to look further. I looked further, I saw many other things as well, but that's besides the point. But he was in a kind of panic. And he actually went straight away back. And we were looking at the BBC, and the building 7 was still standing. And as it goes down, I said, but that's a normal demolition, and so I think there was a whole web of little pockets of programs around the world of this, like that this man, he was a Holocaust survivor, was sent to do this program as well at the same time. That will always stay with me. I just couldn't get it into his head that they'd done it themselves.
Well, some people want to see it, or some people see it, some people want to see it, some people don't see it. But my feeling, right, is when I got to the end of it is I just wonder, because so many people said they heard bombs, and I came across, I don't want to talk too much about it. But
Yeah,
anyways,
no, that's, yeah, it's,
Came was standing up the river, and he was about a quarter of a mile away from those towers. And what it is he's got a slight delay then in it coming to him at the camera. He took the delay out, and you can hear bomb after bomb after bomb go off. Boom, 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 back. That's it. It's gone.
yeah.
So we'll never know whether they showed us the truth. Anyway.
Yeah, no, they're not. And
Only those that there have a better idea, and most of those said they heard something else going on, so it's all a bit crazy. But we can't talk too much about it because they don't like it, do they?
yeah, no, I've noticed that with the site of Astron and this whole new school of Asterix and Obelix to get young people, that started in 2017. Suddenly, for the last 2 years, they have gone very extremely active on all sorts of space programs. So yeah, that's really what we are up against. That's these people. That's the the civilized world. I don't like that word, civilized. It comes from syphilis, because it's common knowledge that all royals had syphilis. So it's a civilized world. That's how I see that. It's just sick.
Well, I'm uncovering that they just lie to us all the time. I'm not even sure when they show us all this stuff if it's ever happened, and it's all done on a computer. They can make anybody go anywhere, be anywhere. They can even say, look, he's done this, he's done. None of it's ever happened.
Yeah.
I'm a bit gutted that there's a case that I've been following, but I don't really want to talk about it that much. But it just seems that now I've seen again, it's like all the pictures are fake, they're not them, they're shopped together, stories, the films don't add up. In it, there's all these things happening, and in fact, I just can't work it out now. It just looks like it's just all a game.
Yeah, it's total nuts. I've got here another. Let me see. This is what you find at. I went through all the connections from the Lover to this Astron and da da da. I got it out at Harvard, and this is what they show at. Let me see, was it? Yeah, this is what they show at NASA as what one of the space shuttles had detected. Look at this. I mean, really, if I play a bit longer with computer games or these programs, animation programs, I can create something much better. You must believe that they've really recorded this.
Anyway, what can I say about
Yeah,
that?
I thought this is a nice one to end off with.
What do you think about the press saying that obviously the moon is in our atmosphere now? What do you make of that?
They try everything. They're gonna get any puppet out of the closet now. They're panicking. No one will know.
Guess what? Nobody seemed to notice it though. No one's saying it. It's not like a big, hey, guess what? They've now said the moon's in our atmosphere. No one's saying anything.
Caroline, what that moon thing? I've only just heard a bit about it, but what I understand, it's like Venus. They say that the sun blows Venus's atmosphere, and you can see a trail coming off Venus. Well, they're saying the Earth has got a similar one, and that's that the moon goes into that extended kind of blowout, if you know what I mean. It's not like the moon is within Earth's atmosphere. It's just like they're saying the sun's energy pushes the Earth's atmosphere out a bit towards the tail end, and that's the moon's going through the tail, if you know what I mean. That's
Right.
That's how I understand. Rather than being small, which it probably is, and within the Earth's atmosphere, which it probably is, like Karen said, that there's so much disinformation at the moment. It's a war of disinformation. and it's really difficult to, we're just guessing.
I think that's a good way of putting it, actually, Nimblehorse. It is a war. It's a war against the people all the time.
Yeah.
We're not fighting. They're lying. They're lying. Like the bit that's got me, I don't want to go too much about it, but it's a bit like now they're saying white men do this, white men strangle their families, white men kill, white men shoot. I'm just picking that as that's what's happening. But really, that's what they're trying to tell you what's happening. But it isn't. I don't think all these things are happening like that. We're not fighting and doing all these things quite like they say. Obviously, it does happen, but they're making. I just think they're trying to make people. I think they want the people to fight.
Yeah. That's what they're non-stop. That's what they're non-stop doing, and that's why they're using these frequencies. They know very well that there's, by the way, a very good documentary. I don't really like the title, but it's the extinction event, 5G, the extinction event. Very, very good information. I actually never knew what SMART was standing for. I could figure out the first two, secret military, but it stands for secret militarized armament in residential technology. So they bring their warfare in your home. They've done already.
Yeah, it's scary actually, because that's the thing that it's these people are movers and shakers. That they've got this sinister plan. It's, yeah, for sure. And they're just dressing it up like sweeties for everybody to. Scary actually. The more you look into it, and
yeah, it is, and it's going on already for decades.
Yeah.
But we are with lots.
Yeah, can't leave us even alone in our own homes. We've even got to do it when we're in our own homes. Not only is it when you go out of the house, it's all in front of you. Probably just like that film, when he takes his glasses off, he puts them on, and he sees all the different messages. It's all like that, really. They're doing it to us when we're out, and they've got us directly in our homes. It's supposed to be private in our homes.
Yeah.
They've directly got you. You need to turn the television off. That's one thing you need to do, even if you, or just really limit it, because the things that they're doing through the telly, and you're watching the news. My in-laws believe everything on the news.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. Yeah. Now you got to take everything out, all the plugs. I undo all the plugs before I go to bed. I switch off everything, take things out of the sockets, and I have no. Only my old phone. I've got an old little Nokia, but my normal home telephone is on a wire. I don't have wireless. I don't want wireless. Yeah.
Oh dear, I'm wireless.
It's very difficult not to. It's very difficult because they put it in your bread toaster, in your water boiler. You know.
They want to make everything on those smart meters as well.
Yeah, the smart meters are the worst.
Trying to make it that everybody has a smart meter, whether you want one or not.
I refused. I got very angry also in the street, and I warned everybody. They wanted to place them. It was a few years ago. I got so angry. I went out in the street, and I just I went warning as many neighbors I could, and just stood there and just waited. You're not going to place it here.
What were you saying about that word smart? I mean, smart meter. It's probably exactly the same thing.
Yeah. Everything that has smart in front of it. Everything with smart. It's very smart what they did. Smart. But it's not smart at all. It's a con. It's and people buy it gullibly. When there's a new gadget out in the Apple, they're tagging the sleeping bags in the leg. It's like, fuck, what's happening?
Smart water. Miriam, smart water.
Smart water?
There's a brand, I think, called Smart Water. Oh, I can't remember. I haven't got that right now. I don't know. Anything with smart on it, don't touch it.
Don't touch it yet. It's smart.
Not smart.
Not smart at all. No, it's terrible. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, well, we've been going for about nearly an hour and a half now.
Oh, nice.
So that's a good time because, you know, like it goes quite quickly sometimes. But when you're the talker, that's a long time talking. And very much appreciate all your wisdom and knowledge, Miriam. It's great. And you're going to come back, so that's even better to explain a bit more. And,
yes, I will do it in little doses.
Please, it's great. I think it's better because people's attention span only lasts so long. So hours and hours of it, people can't take it in.
Yeah, and I've got to dose it because I know what can happen when you get an overload of information.
Not just
although I think most people watching it, they have already an overload of information, so we are all strong already guard to for ourselves for lots of information. Please bring it on. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great that you're going to come back and do a bit more. It's really great. I really appreciate it, Miriam. Nimblehorse coming back on Friday, aren't you, Nimblehorse? What are you gonna do, Nimblehorse?
So my story, isn't it? So I'm going to say how I evolved into a flat earther, something like that.
Yeah, so we look forward to that. I'm going to make a little trailer later on about that. And we've also got Josh Stone coming on, and he makes amazing videos as well. And he understands a lot about everything. So I really like him. And so he's going to come on probably with you or part of the way through. And then we're going to talk to him afterwards or the same. I don't know, because it's your story first.
Yeah.
So we really look forward to that. And I will arrange... I should have numbered them, shouldn't I, Miriam? I should have numbered them 1, 2, 3, 4.
I've downloaded and uploaded them on one of my other YouTube sites where I have no followers yet, so we can discuss it and we do that. Yeah, that's good. I've done it as well, just the same, and then 1, 2, and then this is 3.
As we've moved along, we much appreciate all the sort of older wisdom or the older ways. After all, they're much better than most of the new ones.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you know, I was born in between the 50s and the 60s, just on the knife edge there. And I'm 59. So I grew up in the 60s, and there was a lot happening in Amsterdam. There was a lot of new age, but there were also a lot of traditional streams. So I was always looking for the traditional, but yeah, for sure you get influenced by the new age. But then still there is a lot of good stuff as well. So we shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater, you know. And
you have to get your head around how ugly it is out there and just try and move on.
Yeah.
Can I just do one thing, Mariam? I want to call you Mariam, even though I know your name's Miriam. It's
Miriam.
I've got a thing in my brain, but I have actually called you the right name today. Interfaith Legion has left you a link in the chat room.
Okay, I will check. I will check later on. Yes, I see it. Yeah,
and Miriam's good. She also checks the messages afterwards. If anybody decides to put a message in, she will look at the messages.
Yeah, and then I will address it next time. Yes, sorry.
Until next time.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, and thank you all for watching.
Thanks.
Is Patricia there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you, Miriam.
Yeah.
A pleasure. You're welcome, and thank you all very much.
Also, thank you, and we will see Nimblehorse on Friday. So thanks for that, Nimblehorse.
Okay, Friday, 9 p.m. Yeah.
About that time, yes.
Friday, Nimblehorse.
Yeah, cheers, Pat.
Yeah, and Patricia, do you want to make a little statement about my story? Because we're obviously still taking my stories.
Yeah, come on, get your fingers out and give us your story. I'm joking. Yeah. Don't be shy. Come on, we want to hear your story, and everybody else wants to hear your story too.
Pat, have you done your story? Did you do one?
Who, me?
We should get Patricia to do one. I know what she'd say. She'd be going on about those fluffy clouds, going on and on and on.
No, I do have other things, but no, I'm leaving it up to everyone else, and then when everyone else is exhausted and they don't have any more stories, then I might pipe up a little bit. I don't know yet.
Yeah. So what Patricia's saying is, they still would like people to give us their stories. There's 3 ways of doing it. If you're really shy, an email. If you're not so shy, a video. But if you're like Nimblehorse, who's asked to come on as a hangout, come on a hangout like Nimblehorse and tell us your story. But anyway, until story night on Friday, it's good night from us, and thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, chat room. And Miriam, Patricia, and Nimblehorse. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.